Meghan and Harry, have made a career, if you like, of being rather elusive over two people. That's right. When you think about it, they've really wanted to only share those two people for monetary terms. We're talking about Archie and Lily Diana, or Lilibet, whichever you want to call her. The first time many members of the senior monarchy saw these two children really was on the docu-series for Netflix. But is that now all about to change? As ever, let me explain. I just want to thank you for getting involved in all the comments below as we do the debates, pineapple chunks, the gravy granules, stuff like that. One comment that did make me smile, though, was about over here in the United Kingdom. And as ever, I'd love to know if it's like this where you are in your part of the world. Refuge collection, bin men as we call them. Do you remember the old days where they would come down the path for you, pick up your bin, carry it back, empty it and bring it back? Now, short of you doing that yourself, what exactly do we pay for? I mean, you've got to separate everything. I've got a colleague who's got 6 bins. I mean, green, brown, black, blue, one for dead bodies, I'm assuming. I mean, you just never know. It's all about you doing all the work, isn't it? And then if you remember, around about Christmas time, you come around looking for a Christmas tip and you feel like saying, well, short of doing a shift in the wagon and driving it round to the next street, what are you not doing? It just seems odd, doesn't it, now that we've got service, but no service. Is it the same in your part of the world? You know, don't I know you might think always like an old codger moaning, but the bottom line is you do look at things differently and think this was such a different service years ago, wasn't it? Anyway, back as ever to your breaking royal story of the day. The story really centres upon the forthcoming coronation, and as we know now, Meghan and Harry can't make a decision. Really simple one of a yes or a no. Playing the waiting game gets them massive PR, particularly around the world, and particularly when you've got a book to sell. It keeps people talking about you, and of course it's the big global event of the century, if you like, an historical event constitutionally, and as I say, part of the British monarchy. What's interesting, though, as you can imagine, when Meghan Markle was famously interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, she claimed, didn't she, that titles meant nothing, she didn't really care, but then suddenly she changed her tune and said, well, why couldn't her son have a title? I mean, make your mind up. Do you want a title? Don't you want a title? They were offered the Earl of Dumbarton, but apparently they didn't like that. So that wasn't discussed on air. That was found out later on. Now, according to a very good palace insider, Meghan and Harry would very much like to bring their children over to the coronation. And this, if you think about it, is quite clever by them, because the bottom line is this. You see, they would then be part of an historical event. But let's not also forget that the children are totally unknown to senior members of the British monarchy. I mean, there are no Zoom chats as these other royal experts claim, and there are no swapping of baby clothes and all sorts of tips and stuff. Absolute poppycock, completely made up fabrication. The bottom line is no one in the senior member of the British monarchy has truly ever spent any real time with these two children. Even that visit to Windsor Castle by the Queen, as we've often said here on the show, is very, very debatable. Just because Prince Harry allegedly printed that in his own book doesn't mean it's true. But according to a very good source, Meghan would like it to be known publicly that she would be more than happy to bring her two children over to the United Kingdom to meet the King in person. Risky on many levels, as one can imagine. Risky for the King, because of course that could really supersede and take the publicity away from that historical event, and also very risky for Meghan Markle, because this will be the first time that her children will be at such a huge public event. And let's not forget, they're not used to royal protocol, or indeed perhaps how to behave on such a world stage, and I'm not being unkind here. But isn't it strange, if you remember, Meghan herself said she wasn't keen on having her children paraded around at any whim for the world to see. They're not pay-per-view. Well, they are, particularly if you're Netflix. But according to Meghan and Harry now, they very much want their children, Archie and Lilibet, to be very much part of this world historical event. And as ever, the ball is firmly pushed back into the royal court of King Charles. Will this make him relent? As ever, it's a developing story. When I find out more, you'll find out more.